welcome to episode 13 of the Red Mountain Express. I'm your host, Blake Westbrook, and joining me as always is Matthew Joyner. It's been a good week. Matthew, how was your weekend, or your week?
Well, my week was good. I mean, nothing. It was just a week, but my weekend was packed. It's been one thing after another. Did some dinner with some friends Friday night. Saturday, went to the UAB game versus Coastal Carolina.
How was that?
It was great. Well, I say it was great. It was a little bit soggy. There wasn't supposed to be any rain in the forecast, but we got sprinkled on a couple of times. And UAB won 30-23. They looked fairly solid. Quarterback had a good running play for a touchdown, and we had a couple of good numbers on our running yards. Overall, they looked steady, I guess, is how you put it. So that was an enjoyable game. I read online that the crowd was around 25,000, maybe just a little bit just south of 25,000. That looked to be almost all on the home side. I didn't see too many people on the...
I wonder how the tickets are spread out. Do they have just a home on one side, on the guest on the other, like kind of like a high school game?
It's kind of how it seemed.
Yeah.
I mean, it was easier access to sit on the away side. When you come in, like we took a shuttle in from the parking lot out over on 5th Avenue. That was extremely easy. If you're going to go to a UAB game, park in one of those remote lots where the buses come and just let them shuttle you in. Man, that was perfect.
How was the experience at the game? Was it, did they do a lot for fan experience? Or?
So we got there right before the game started, right before they came out on the field. There was some good excitement. The fans that were there were excited. They were cheering. The cheerleaders, of course, were doing their job. And then I was standing right under the entryway into the home side, and they shot off this cannon or some fireworks or something, and it rattled right above my head, and I thought I was about to die. I thought the stadium had exploded. But once I realized what it was very exciting. It was a very cool moment. Of course, after every touchdown, they shot off the fireworks and then shot off some flames up into the air, so that was cool.
So do you have PTSD from UAB games?
A little
right now?
shell shock, yeah. No, it was fun overall. It was good. Saw some of the Auburn game versus Mercer. I enjoyed watching UAB a little bit more than I enjoyed watching Auburn yesterday.
There weren't as many fumbles and turnovers. And
gracious.
And I don't get it, man.
No,
maybe there's a
rough.
letdown from the last game or something, but
I don't know.
It was, and then of course Auburn's quarterback was arrested so you're listening to this. We're recording this on Sunday. He was arrested early this morning for public intoxication.
I think that's right. Yeah. Celebrating the win against Mercer. Like what were you doing out there? Maybe he was depressed.
I haven't read where it was, but I mean, I guess watching quarterback play like that and knowing you're the backup, I guess that's you're going to drink a little bit.
So that's rough. I don't know. So how was your? I've got a little bit more left in my weekend, but how was your week going into your weekend? Talk about Alabama football. Give me something.
My week was good. I actually was out of town this week, as you know. I left Monday morning early and beat the hurricane out to head to D.C. for work. I'm gonna tell you what. We flew to Atlanta. Because I'm a Delta flyer, and so we flew to Atlanta, of course, where I'm going to probably go when I die. I'm sure I'll have a layover in Atlanta. And we started getting some turbulence coming into Atlanta, and I'm going to tell you what, we dropped out of the sky.
Really?
Yes. I mean, it was like all of a sudden we were in the air, all of a sudden we were not. And there were people on the plane that said some words when we hit the ground, and it was unbelievable. But we got out of Atlanta. It was fine. Went to D.C. I did some stuff for work. I was there till Thursday. Didn't really get to see the sights, and I've been to D.C. a tons of times,
right.
But we did have an hour or two to kill, so my boss and I, we went to Arlington National Cemetery. He had never been there. I'd been there a couple times. So we went to the Curtis Lee Mansion, which is, if you don't know, that's the big house on top of the hill. It used to belong to Robert E. Lee, and we saw Kennedy's grave, and then we walked over to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. And if you have not been there, I strongly urge you, if you're in D.C. or in the area, to stop by and see that. It is amazing. It is wonderful. It is awe-inspiring. And we saw the changing of the guard, which was really cool. I know in some months they change it every 30 minutes, and other months they change it every hour. We were there right before the top of the hour, and I whispered to my boss, like, they're about to do the changing of the guard. And we could have sat there and watched just that whole process for as long as we wanted to. It was great. And it's just, it's very sacred ground, so it was really cool to be there. But I got back into town late Thursday, and I'm kind of worn out. It's a long trip, and on the flight home, a little kid named Kevin slept on my arm the whole flight from D.C. to Atlanta.
Aww.
I mean, yeah, but I had a good book, so I was able to kind of read that.
You weren't trying to elbow him off of you?
I'm telling you what, it was like he was there, and then he was playing a game on his iPad, and then he was asleep. And if he'd have drooled, then I might have had to tell his mom, get your kid off me. But I mean, he's a little kid and he was very well behaved. I've been on planes where there's children screaming and yelling, and he wasn't one of those. So all right, I'll take it.
You're a dad now, so does that make you like a dad to all the kids? Like if some kids like this experience, he's falling asleep on you, you feel an obligation to just stay in dad mode?
Absolutely. I get it now. I used to not understand parents, and now I do. I'm like, look, he's asleep. Let it go. But I really didn't do much this weekend. I watched football yesterday. Watched the Alabama game yesterday night. Played Colorado State, and you could tell that we were kind of holding back because we scored very quickly on the first drive and on the second drive, and then it kind of just, our defense didn't let the air out of the ball at the very end, but we won very comfortably, 42 to 24 or something. Yeah. It wasn't that bad of a game. So Matthew, did you see a movie this weekend?
So yeah, that was the next thing I was going to talk about. Last week we talked about It. I managed to convince Laura to go see it with me.
So first of all, let's talk about that process, because she hates scary movies. She hates scary pictures.
Yes. All right. So it is well known that in our household and among our friends that she hates scary movies.
The thought of scary movies.
Won't see very many with me. There over the course of our relationship. I think maybe I've convinced her to watch 3 or 4 scary movies with me. Now, I'm not a scary movie buff. That is not my favorite type of movie, but I do appreciate them, and I watch plenty of them when the feeling hits me. And It being one of my favorite Stephen King books, of course I wanted to see this movie. So the process, she told me that I had to tell her everything about the movie or the book, the story, before she would come see it with me. She didn't
so there was no surprises,
right?
Did you give her? Did you give her the whole rundown?
I gave her the basic rundown, and then I kind of
you should have
twisted.
lied to her. You should have been it's not that scary.
She thought I was going to lie to her.
He gives the kids candy, and then he just goes boo.
So I did kind of get creative with my wording. I summed it up like this. It's a group of underdogs, a group of friends who have to overcome adversity through the power of friendship and imagination.
That's like Stand By Me, man. That's like every Stephen King book.
Almost every Stephen King book, yeah. But I think it summed it up well. I think by the end of the movie, she was agreeing with me.
You didn't mention the scary clown?
Yeah, he was the adversity.
Okay.
Yeah. Adversity takes many forms, Blake. Good movie. I think I'd give it a solid 7.5, 8 out of 10. I think it was a very respectful adaptation of the book. Of course, there are things that are different. Of course, they had to chop some things out or combine things to fit the time allotted. Runtime was about 2 hours, 15 minutes. The sequel's already been greenlit, so very excited about that.
Oh, there's going to be a sequel to this?
Yeah, so in the book and in the ABC miniseries, it's split up into the story with the children and the story with them 27 years later as adults. This movie only focused on them as children. So the sequel is going to have some flashbacks, but is mostly going to be focused on them as adults coming back to Derry, doing their thing. I don't want to spoil anything, but of course you kind of get the idea that I'm hinting at.
So I've seen the miniseries, the ABC miniseries, and it was scary to me. Mm-hmm. Was the movie scarier than the miniseries?
The movie had a couple of really good jump scares. Jump scares don't normally affect me too much, but there were a couple moments where I was jarred. What I really kind of appreciated about this was that the jump scares were never like the point of a scene. The jump scares in this movie were almost always like the middle of the scene leading up to something else. And that was different than what you normally get in a scary movie, and I appreciated that. The psychological terror in this movie was very good. They did a good job with that, especially with the music and with the auxiliary characters. There was never, or I should say there were very few moments where you felt like you were safe or you could breathe. Like it was kind of oppressive in that feeling of scariness or horror or whatever you want to call it. Especially if you were relating to the kids and watching it, trying to appreciate their point of view. The kid actors in this movie did a great job. They always looked terrified. Their reactions were very appropriate. So overall, highly recommended, especially if you like scary movies or you like the book or the movie It. Go see it. I've offered to go with you again, Blake, if you need to see it.
I want to go, but my wife will not go.
Yeah. And I saw it in IMAX, and so the sound was like, very, very loud. And
the name of the actor that plays Pennywise,
Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah, so he told a story. I forgot what talk show it was, about the kid actors and how professional they were. And there was a scene where he's just, and I'm not going to give anything away because I haven't seen it, but he's basically got this kid by the throat and he's just like, yelling at him. It's just anger's coming out, and the kid's just crying and slobbering and just like, just all the emotions you would think the kid would go through. And then they said, cut. And the kid goes like, wipes tears, that's great. I like what you're doing. Good job. And he was like, oh, these kids are for real,
Yeah.
And they said that kind of attitude really like pushed the movie forward. So.
I read that same thing from Bill Skarsgård, and then they had another view from the child actor in that same scene where he said it wasn't quite like that. It was more like we were never sure if Bill was gonna scare us or be friendly. Like one minute he was asking us how we were doing or if we did our homework, and the next minute he was like, choking us and breathing down our.
Did you do your homework? Yeah, I did it. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah. They said that they kept they kept him and the children away from each other.
Yeah.
Which has got to be terrifying. But they're all pros, and apparently the movie turned out great. And hopefully I can convince Megan to go see it with me. If not, I'm sure you'll go for a second time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, let's take a little break and hear from our friends at Beecham Woodworks. We'll be back. We'll talk about a few things happening around the Birmingham area. We'll be right back after this. Beecham Woodworks is a locally owned and operated wood shop in Birmingham, Alabama, specializing in custom furniture and small home goods. Chris and Kanan Beecham create a wide variety of unique pieces of all sizes, ranging from cutting boards to farmhouse tables. Using wood sourced from Alabama sawmills, Beecham Woodworks creates affordable, quality pieces that will be a one-of-a-kind fixture for your home. So support your local woodworker and visit redmountainexpress.com/woodworks or check them out on their Facebook and Instagram accounts. Beecham Woodworks, turning your house into a home. And welcome back to the Red Mountain Express. Matthew, I saw something in the news and sent it to you, and apparently you already seen it as well, but apparently there's an exit that's going to be fixed. It's the exit going to the summit off of 459.
Yeah, 459 to 280.
Yeah, I take that exit every day, but I actually go toward Inverness.
Yeah.
So I never really think about this, but apparently they're going to add something. I don't quite get the drawing. So can you explain this to me?
Right. Okay. So when I'm taking 459 to 280, normally it's to go to somewhere like the Summit or to Cahaba Heights. And so if you get off of 459 to 280 and you're planning to go northbound, you have to crisscross with the people. So you're turning left. You're crisscrossing with the people who are wanting to turn right towards Inverness, that area.
And then there's people swinging around from... No, there's nobody swinging around.
It's just it's northbound and southbound crisscrossing each other. So what AlDOT has proposed, according to their drawings, is a $4 million fix that is going to take the northbound or left turn traffic, and their ramp is going to go under the ramp that's going towards Inverness, going towards the right.
I saw the price tag is like $8 million.
$4 million.
Okay, there's no way that's only going to be $4 million.
It's not a very big section. I think I'm not sure if they're going to raise up the section that currently exists that's going rightbound, or if there's enough room for this northbound traffic.
Well, that whole exit, I know this has been a problem. I've like I said, I drive that every day, and I see people crossing over. I know that's a problem. But the biggest problem about that whole exit is actually when you go over the bridge and you want to get back on the interstate going toward Tuscaloosa, is you have to cross over and wait for a green light and cross over to get back on the ramp to go back toward Tuscaloosa and toward that part of town. That's the biggest part of that exit that needs to be fixed. Well, I don't understand why there's not a swing around.
It's a weird transition, especially if you're on 280 and you're heading up towards the summit and you're planning on getting on 459. That's a weird intersection. It's a weird transition to that intersection. At least it is at a stoplight, so you're not just waiting, all day for traffic to finally stop.
There is rock up on the hill where the summit is, and I wonder if that has something to do with it, whether you have to blast into it. But
potentially, yeah.
That's the biggest issue with that hole, because it slows all the traffic down. Because I will say this, when I first moved to Birmingham, I've worked off 280 the whole time. When I first moved here, it was terrible. Getting up and down, it'd take me 45 minutes to get home. Now they've synchronized the lights. They add the Michigan U-turns where people were very unpopular with. They've closed off some some coming across 280 and rerouted some folks, and it turned out very well. The traffic flows pretty quick now. I can get from my office in Inverness to my home in Bluff Park in maybe on a really, really good day, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
That's really good. But I guarantee you, if that crossover is blocked, man, it's going to take you forever, and it backs up everything else.
That section takes forever. I think this intersection coming off of 459 to 280 with traffic trying to cross itself like that, I think has a higher potential for dangerous situations.
This is more of a safety issue.
So, I think this will solve a lot of those potential accidents. Thankfully, I've never seen an accident right there. I've never been in an accident right there, but man, it scares me every time I have to do it, especially during heavy traffic, because you never know who's coming up that lane to your left and when they're going to want to try and cross over you.
And I know you have to get to your Banana Republic, I mean.
That's right. Yeah.
It's
really Johnny Rockets. Like,
is that what it is?
Yeah. No, actually, so I didn't mention this earlier, and I meant to. Laura and I had our anniversary last Thursday night, and
how many years?
4 years.
Is she re-electing you for another term?
We'll see.
Okay.
The vote's still out. We went to the Fig Tree Cafe back there in Cahaba Heights.
Oh, how was that?
That place was excellent. It's one of those places where you'd probably only go for special events, a little bit pricey. If you've been to John Marco's, I kind of liken the price to that range. But man, she got an 8-ounce filet, and I got a special called the Fig to Pig, which was like a jalapeno grits with some pulled pork and some different greens and purple-eyed beans on them, or peas. Man, neither one of us had any complaints. Both of our plates were way clean by the time we were done. So if you have a special event coming up soon, go check that place out. That was great. Just thought I'd mention that with the 280 traffic thing.
Well, what do you got for us on? I know there was something on Project Sunrise finally being unveiled.
You had sent me a link to an article in Biz Journal. I'd actually already seen this. I was looking for the news to happen on Wednesday. Project Sunrise has been something kind of whispered about for a while, and nobody really knew what it was. It was veiled in secrecy. Wednesday, they announced Project Sunrise's, plans. So Autocar LLC is a Indiana-based company that produces large cab-over-engine trucks. So think like your garbage trucks or your street sweepers, aircraft military support type trucks, concrete trucks, that kind of thing. They've announced a $120 million facility in the Centerpoint area. I believe it's the old Meadowcraft facility.
I think that's right, yeah.
Yeah, on Pinson Valley. So $120 million. They're estimating around 750 jobs just for this building. And then they're also saying that this is going to bring in a lot of their suppliers. They're either going to relocate completely or open up new operations in the Birmingham area. So this is big news. That many jobs, just shy of 1,000 jobs, really. That's huge, plus any jobs that the suppliers end up bringing.
Well, yeah, like if you look at any car plant, it's not just the car plant that's so big. It's the suppliers and the spinoffs from it. If you look at the Mercedes plant in Tuscaloosa or the Hyundai plant in Montgomery, and I think there's a Honda plant in Lincoln.
And then we have a Toyota engine plant.
You see, you have not only just the car operations, but you have like all the part suppliers that are on and those supply maybe just as many jobs as the plant does.
Overall, I think so.
And so hopefully you'll see something with that where there's actually some more jobs coming on top of just what the company that's being brought in to be employed here. Now, are they relocating any staff from where they're bringing the car plant from?
The article I read did not say that. I would have to imagine with this big of an operation, they'll bring some, either if not like of the C-suite staff or some of the support staff that know the job. So I have to imagine that's the case, and maybe that's factored into the 746 jobs they're talking about. I'm not sure. The article didn't really specify. But again, this is huge news. It'll be great for the Centerpoint area. It'll be great for Birmingham overall, and it really adds to that list of automotion sector business jobs we have in Alabama. Like you said, we got Mercedes, Honda, Hyundai, and then that Toyota engine plant.
And this is also jobs coming in from outside the Birmingham area.
Right.
This is not like we've talked before, fragmentation, where you'd had jobs leaving Birmingham to go to Homewood or Hoover, and then Hoover jobs going to Birmingham. This is someone coming in from the outside to supply big jobs,
brand new jobs,
at probably very high paying jobs as well. So very good news for the Magic City area. The last thing I wanted to talk about, and you brought this to my attention, but I want to start on it because my wife has been kind of begging me to cut the cord.
Explain cut the cord.
The cord is basically do away with your cable subscribers and then just go in all streaming. She looked at, is it Sling TV?
There's Sling TV, there's the Hulu, Netflix,
right.
Those are all cut the cord.
The problem
type.
is that like I have to watch, I have Game of Thrones and I have stuff I watch on CBS, ABC, and NBC.
Football.
That's exactly what I'm watching. But there is YouTube TV is coming to Birmingham, or is it here? Or
yeah, so this was one of my kind of like, I wanted to tack this on at the end because I'm excited about it because I'm that kind of person.
So it's happening with y'all. Y'all going to cut the cord?
Me and Laura haven't talked about it. If she's listening to this before we've talked about it, then she'll probably come home and ask questions. I've talked about stuff like this before. We've made an attempt to cut the cord before, and when we moved back to Birmingham, we got back on the AT&T train. So YouTube TV is in Birmingham officially now. $35 a month. For the first month includes a Chromecast device to stream to and to use for this service. Basically gets you local channels from NBC, ABC, CBS, and Fox. And then that includes all of those channels that come under those umbrellas. So like your ESPN, your Fox Sports, your USA, FX, Disney, all those kind of channels. So for me, like right now, we're paying just a little bit north of $160 for AT&T Uverse, and that's our internet for $50 a month, and then tack on 2 DVRs with all of those extra channels like HBO and Showtime. It's a good package. We get a lot of use out of it. We watch a pretty good bit of TV, but then we're also paying for Netflix and Hulu, and we have Amazon Prime. And honestly, we do a lot of our TV watching on those 3 services. I think 9 times out of 10 when we watch something, it's either Hulu or Netflix, and then a lot of times our movies are on Amazon Prime. So being able to cut out that extraneous part of the bill for the TV service from AT&T and just have the cable or the internet bill, so that's $50. Tack on something like YouTube TV or PlayStation View, or Slingbox for $35 a month, and then add on, Netflix or Hulu or HBO Now for $15. You're cutting your bill a pretty significant portion.
My problem with though is HBO Now is usually it crashes every time Game of Thrones comes on.
I've never had that problem.
I've heard from everybody that it crashes.
We've used
and I'm going to tell you what, if it crashes and everybody else gets to watch Game of Thrones and I don't, and now, granted, we probably have to wait 2 years for the next season, but
oh yeah, for sure.
I'm afraid to cut the cord.
All right, so with my limited experience doing it, especially with something like HBO Now or HBO Go, I've never had a problem. Now, there have been a few episodes where I had to delay starting my viewing for that show. Like maybe I didn't start it exactly when everybody else was watching it live.
Yeah, but you also have like technological equipment here at your house that probably provides your internet to go faster. I mean, your server looks like something Hillary Clinton would have in her closet.
You have to wipe it. You have to wipe the server.
But I mean, seriously, like what about for the average Joe like me who just has the normal stuff that Charter gave them? I mean, I understand the pricing point because I have TV in the living room and we have a TV in the bedroom. We have one DVR box and we have internet, and it's $150 a month.
Right,
that's expensive. I can get that part, but.
So I think as long as you're not changing up how you do your internet, like let's say you still use your internet from Comcast or AT&T or whoever you have, that part's not changing. All right. So do you have Wi-Fi set up in your house?
Yeah.
All right. So it's as simple as plugging in this Chromecast. If you're going to use something like YouTube TV, or if you're going to use an Amazon Firebox or a Sling TV, you just plug in that device.
We have a Roku.
You have a Roku. Most of those devices hook up to the wireless, like simple as can be. You punch in your password and it's done. This is the same situation. You go online, you sign up for these services, you plug in your Chromecast, and that Chromecast, you may have to download an app on there, but it has access to, all of those YouTube Red programs.
Now, will I still get local programming?
Yeah, so this includes
NBC.
Like
I can get my James Spann if it's apocalypse outside.
So far as I know. Now,
if I'm wrong. So far as I know.
If I'm wrong.
Lawyers dodge.
If I'm wrong. It is $15 to $30 to buy an HD antenna that plugs into your TV.
So then I'm paying $30 on top of what we just talked about.
Yeah, but one time.
It's an argument we're going to keep having, aren't we? This is like Dome and Stadium, isn't it?
I don't know, not really, because
I'm not really against. I just need to be convinced.
There are people who, if you want to have the iPhone versus Android phone conversation, there are people who will never be convinced. It's fun to have the argument. It's fun to talk about it. I'm a tech nerd. I love talking about this stuff, but I know that everybody has their preferences. This, to me, if you want to pay the extra for not cutting the cord and having the convenience of your AT&T or your Comcast cable box, cool, whatever. It's a little bit more trouble to cut the cord, no doubt about that, but you're also saving that money. So that's $40 or $50 a month that I'm saving right off the bat.
So, but now all the channels are being streamed, though, correct?
Right.
So, does Charter or AT&T have a certain, download or data limit to where at some point you've been streaming all this stuff, they're going to slow down your streaming?
You'd have to look at your individual cable plan. Like right now for me with AT&T Uverse, I think I have 300 gigs before they cap it. 300 gigs, for anybody out there that doesn't really know, is a lot. So you could stream, for the average user, you could probably stream your normal amount of TV and never hit that data cap.
I'm just not convinced yet.
You don't have to be.
Well, if you're a listener out there and you have cut the cord and you use Sling TV or YouTube TV, or if you just don't have TV, you just sit in the dark all day, let us know. Let us know how you like it. That's going to wrap it up for episode 13 of the Red Mountain Express. Please be sure to like us on Facebook and check out our website for any and all updates. Also, you can check us out on our website at www.redmountainexpress.com. And Matthew wants to say one more thing.
Quick note on the website, because somebody brought this up to me earlier today. When we post these episodes on Monday night, I almost always try to post our show notes on our website, redmountainexpress.com/listen now. You can see each of our individual episodes. If we mention an article in an episode or a specific story, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to link that article somewhere in our show notes. So if you hear about an article that we mentioned and you want to read the article for yourself, we normally have those on there. So again, that's redmountainexpress.com/listen now, and you'll see each of our individual episodes with their show notes.
Thank you for that, Matthew.
You're welcome.
Yeah. We'll see you next week. And for Matthew Joyner, I'm Blake Westbrook. This has been the Red Mountain Express.